welcome.
Welcome everybody to the Path of the Ninth podcast introductory episode
Yeah.
featuring
My cousin, James, and myself.
yeah. So do you want to tell us what this whole deal's going to be about?
Yeah, man. So thanks for listening, everybody. This is consider it an introductory episode, kind of just to get to know what we sound like, and we just want to put forward some of the ideas we've been kind of throwing back and forth, some of the things we want to talk about in the future episodes, things on our social media platforms, etc., etc., etc. And I think it's fair to say you and I came to the conclusion that we wanted to do a self-development podcast.
Very much so, yeah.
That's the general theme of it. And for me, a huge part of my journey has been philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
and for you and I both also fitness.
Definitely.
And lots of literature, kind of fiction and non-fiction, and there's so many books that you and I want to get through, so many kind of biographies of people,
So yeah,
so many. Yeah,
so a major backbone of this is probably going to be like we've got books. So like not book reviews, we won't be going through page by page, but taking out the most important self-improvement elements of some of our favorite books, like Tommy said, fiction and non-fiction.
Yeah.
And then we can delve into the past as well to talk about philosophy and biographies of people's lives, like Musashi, or you've got the ancient Greek philosophers, and there's many people.
Aurelius, Lao Tzu, Chuang Tzu. Yeah, man. Yeah, and when I've been home, for the record, listeners, I'm in Amsterdam at the moment. James is still in the UK. And whenever I'm allowed back due to my term times, like we end up having these
whenever they let you back.
yeah, when they let me out of the swamp. We end up going on these massive conversations. And I think if we just had a microphone with us in some of the conversations we've had in the past, we would have been able to give like so much value to people out there.
Well, maybe that's something we can do in the future, like just like we have before, just like post up with a laptop and my mic, and then just sit up in your garden or somewhere random on the beach and just record.
Yeah, on the cliffs, man. Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. But yeah, we're gonna get into all kinds of topics, like we said, mainly self-development, philosophy along the lines of Stoicism and Taoism. Two things I'm very, very familiar with. James, I know you've got a bit of a grasp on other ones, other
yeah, and it'll be
interesting
to really delve into each other's schools, because I feel like we agree on most things, but I feel like the way we've gotten to our conclusions is a little different. So it'll be really interesting to dive into our like paths of how we got there, and then like learn from each other, and then hopefully you guys can learn from us too.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. And on top of that as well, so there's the self-development, there's the philosophy, there's the fitness, but also all of the things that come from that single seed of kind of the initial decision of deciding to take the path of self-development. And once you walk that path for long enough, you do end up realizing that it seeps into every single area of your life, whether it's relationships, friendships, even getting into the lines of spirituality later on, fitness, all good things in life come from that single decision of deciding to improve and to be better, and to be better than you were yesterday, and to live a better life. And those are the types of things that we want to talk about with this podcast. Definitely. The things that we've learned, the things that we've done, things where we want to go, book reviews, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on.
Yeah, I think that's really a really good way of putting it, in terms of like you have like fitness, and a big goal in fitness, I'm sure a lot of people know, is progressive overload, right? So every workout you do something a little more, right? So maybe it's just one more rep, or 2 more kilograms in each dumbbell, or just something. And I feel like that does bake self-improvement like into your very being. And then once you've like put fitness on as like the major driving force of your life for a little bit, once it becomes like a habit, you step back and you think, oh wow, like this development I've been doing in the gym, pushing myself, it's so rewarding. And then you look elsewhere in life, where else can I achieve this? So they all build
100%.
on each other.
And the interesting thing is that's kind of what you just said, Dan, is like universal.
Hmm.
Like I don't think I've ever heard anyone who got in the gym, got into fitness, whether that is running, whether it's weightlifting, rock climbing, whatever, just taking some sort of positive action in life. I don't think any of them. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that they regret
No.
trying to improve themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really.
And everyone unanimously, universally comes back with this single point of once I took that step in one direction, it just opened up my eyes to every other
Yeah, it really
area of
does.
life.
Acting is such a
Yeah,
huge
definitely,
thing.
man.
Like, people get trapped, especially these days. Overthinking seems to
Yeah,
be something that like loads and loads of people suffer with, and I have in the past
yeah,
as well, and I still do. Obviously, I'm not perfect, but
yeah, yeah. Same here, man.
acting seems to be the most important thing. Like, somebody was talking about, there are rich people and there are poor. There are rich people who are smart, and there are rich people who aren't so smart. And there are poor people who are very smart, and there are poor people who are very dumb. But a lot of the time, what separates like the rich person who's not as smart as the poor person is the ability to just act, to like not
Yeah,
overthink things, to just do and to fail, and then to just
yeah,
keep going. You know, being paralyzed by fear is what stops a lot of people.
yeah, yep. And we're not going to give away too many goodies in this first episode here.
A few tidbits.
we're def we're definitely gonna have to elaborate more on those in things like that in future episodes. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. And I think you know it's interesting to think like we this is our first episode, right? Right now, I don't know about you, bro, but I'm sat looking out the window on a dark night in a dark October night in Amsterdam,
Lovely.
and who knows where we could be a year from now? Who
Hmm.
knows what we're going to be talking about? And that that simple that simple choice of taking an action and starting something, who knows where it could lead? You
Exactly.
know, and yeah, just that taking action in life in whatever way it manifests itself. It's
Is definitely
to an
huge.
extent.
Yeah, yeah, no, of course, but it depends. Like, you can't have too much of a good thing.
Yeah,
But it is that mindset of like
yeah,
quietly debating if something's worth it, and if it is, just don't put those self-limiting beliefs in, and just go and do it.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
your first YouTube video, your first podcast will probably be rubbish, but you'll
Yeah.
look back in, I don't know how, a year's time, and think, "Oh, this is crap," but you won't think, "Oh, I wish I never did it," because you have to
Yeah,
fail to
yeah, yeah.
learn.
Yeah. Yeah, well said, man. Well said. Um, so that's pretty much all I wanted to I think wait, before we kind of wrap this up, let's just kind of give so we agreed on a couple of things that we were gonna talk about
Hmm.
when we first like a few days ago when we decided to start this. And I just wanna kind of read back some of the things that we wanted to do.
Yeah, go
Do
for it,
you
man.
have the list?
I
Do you have the
don't on
list on your
hand
phone?
know, do you?
So some of the philosophical elements we were thinking of getting into is Seneca and Aurelius.
Hmm.
Can even get into Epictetus as well, and along the lines of Stoicism. And for Taoism, sort of like the Oriental Chinese philosophy of Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching, obviously, and Chuang or however you pronounce it correctly. And then also along the lines of Oriental stuff, we have Book of Five Rings,
Hmm.
Musashi, and then some of the other classics, Socrates, Plutarch, all of the big names you can think of. I'm sure we can delve into. But I think where I stand on philosophy is that you can find everything you need in Seneca. That's definitely been the case for me. I've read way more than I should have, and I keep coming back to Seneca. It's like so that's definitely one of the big ones I definitely want to talk about.
Yeah, we can do that, and once we've got found our feet, we'll delve into Seneca.
Yeah, definitely, man. But on top of that, so kind of like modern stuff.
Hmm.
Um, Book of a quite an ostentatious name, but it's actually a very humbling, very grounding. It doesn't sound the book's message isn't anything like the title sounds, but it's Way of the Superior Man.
Hmm.
That's the one we're going to be doing first, I
Yep.
believe.
Yep.
Other books like The Rational Male. I'm sure we'll be doing some Jocko Willink as well.
Hmm. Extreme
Jordan
ownership.
Peterson. Um, Sort of the classics of our age, I think, is kind of a way to look at it.
Yeah, we could do Lord of the Rings as well if we want to talk about the fiction stuff. We got
Yeah, that's what I was about to get into as well. Like the fiction stuff, Lord of the Rings, um, Horus Heresy being the big one, the source of
yes.
the name. And there's so much to unpack with that because, like I remember telling you the other day, like it really is modern day mythology,
No, mate, it really is.
and like the underlying philosophy that underpins it, it's just so juicy, man. There's so much to be take. Yes,
There's a
bro.
lot to talk about, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. And same, same with Star Wars. As
I,
as crazy and as childish as it sounds,
I wouldn't
same with Star
say
Wars.
to the same extent, but Star
Oh
Wars
yeah,
has
no,
lessons to learn, but the Horus Heresy has like a
yeah, true.
lot.
True, definitely. And then moving on to some of the suggestions you made as well, the Berserk,
hmm
Vagabond, Vinland Saga,
hmm
which are what's the name for the books again?
So the Japanese manga.
Manga. Yeah,
hmm
manga, that's it. Yeah, that's it. And then we were talking about doing some of the classics, some of Homer,
hmm
and then for me, one of my favorite books ever written is the Aeneid, Virgil. And then some of the biographies like Caesar, Napoleon, Alexander, and then, the list is endless, mate.
Exactly.
And then, yeah, so just along the lines of self development, fitness, even sometimes a bit of spirituality, philosophy, just tons and tons we can unpack. And in all of the various ways we can do it. So that's what we have in store for you. If you like the sound of that, stick around.